I'm going to have to go back to Wade's video again because now you have me thinking. I'm still thinking about the day the kids went missing. I could have sworn that he said the kids stopped by there, but maybe I'm misunderstanding what Wade's saying, and he's referencing seeing the shirt and coat of Lily's with him in his car when he went to the trailer to Garlock Road. We're going to have to go back and sort that out because now you've got me thinking. Here's a statement I really appreciated by... Oh, it was just there.
Listen
There it
up
is.
when you're out at night.
Oh, listen up. Listen up. On the video of Daniel Malaya, the case of the magically disappearing story, Rachel Phillips 667 says, so let's think this through. They already claimed the kids were last heard in their bedrooms between 8 and 8:30. Lily supposedly poked her head in a few times before then. Malaya also got up at some point to turn the TV on for the baby because they woke her. And now you have Malaya making the call to Cindy at 8:28 a.m. This proves she was not asleep. In the same time frame they said the kids were last heard. That's a lot of activity for somebody who's asleep. Good point. She probably had to make that call from outside because that's where her phone works, unless she was using the app and the Wi-Fi app. And she would have taken the baby outside too. She didn't leave Meadow on the bed watching TV by herself with the sleeping Daniel. If she called from outside, she would have met the kids in the kitchen or outside. Right. Because they say they were not heard in their bedroom around 8:30, but Janie was heard, Jack was heard rustling around in the kitchen. Did Malaya see them outside playing? Probably not, because the dog would have been barking. This according to Janie. She was still hearing the kids playing at around 9 a.m. after her nap. Is that a lie? Why did Malaya supposedly not wake Daniel until 9:45? Why did Daniel say Malaya was sleeping beside him? And he was the one who told Malaya he didn't hear them. Is that a lie? Why only call it in at 10:01 a.m.? It's all her opinion only. Everyone conveniently leaves their phones behind during this time. I would question, was Cindy actually in her barn? And where was Wade during all of this? Timeline's totally blown. Is it game over? This cracks me up. Oh, jeez, I did it to myself again. I lost the comment. Son of a... You know what? Farm girl. Or not farm girl, who was it? Oh, crap, hold on. Here it is. Rachel Phillips, 667 again, says, how did Janie still hear the kids around 9 a.m. after her nap? If the police report states that they were gone since 0800, they could not have been gone at 0800 because Janie said her brother called at 8:48 a.m. Then she napped. Then there was no kids missing even by 8:48 when Janie was taking a nap because her dog woke her up from her nap at around 9 a.m. barking at the kids, she says. She tells her dog to quiet down. It's just the kids. She says she heard them playing, then complete silence. Time passed, then she heard Daniel yelling for them. She's got it pretty much right. She's just coming to the threshold of recognizing just how full of shit they all are. Coming across the wire, Brenda Bangay 5410 says, hi AB, regarding Malaya's letter, in my opinion, past tense. The longing I have for them to come back home is greater feeling that I can have never imagine. It's a greater feeling you can never imagine feeling or put into words. How am I feeling? Speaks in present moment and time. spent combing through the woods and yards. Whose yards? Why not say forest? She needs to practice what she preaches. Please do not be afraid to use your voice to help bring home Lily and Jack. I so desperately want is a demand word. Better to have said would like them home. Have heard as well the letter was apparently written October 11th, but had been said it was dated November 11th. Trying to make it sound like a Remembrance Day. An end to the Great War, 1914 to 17. Or 1919 for some. World War I, lest we forget, is November 11th. Maybe she was copying a November 11th, a Remembrance Day letter to a family member. Somebody who'd gone off away to war and never came back. So I must be a bit confused. It's now October 16th, 2025 at 7:30 a.m. I woke up and I'm reading some comments, and they've got me thinking about this Wade Paris statement now. About I might have misheard him. Because it doesn't make sense for Wade not to have been over there the day that the kids were reported missing. Cindy and Wade said they came. I assume Wade came with Cindy at 11:30. And I must have misunderstood, and he saw Lily's clothes in the car over at the house. I'm going to have to go back and listen. I'm sure I heard it other way, but it doesn't mean I believe it. It's just I could have misheard him. It's very difficult to hear. And he's a talker in that sense, where he's running on to sometimes multiple topics at one time, then into another. So I'll go back and check. But nonetheless, I could have sworn that he said that they came out and searched the yard, and he was standing there pointing, but that's me visualizing, so I could be misunderstanding as well. It's not a big deal. But it is something that I need to make mention of. Because now it's in my head. Now it's in my head. There's a lot of great comments. Overnight. I heard Drunk Turkey was over there talking shit about me, or somebody in his chat. Well, what the hell does that matter? Oh boy. So was that you, Kim, in my chat? If I'm a topic over there on Drunk Turkeys, you know that I'm over at Target. And Ninchi. Ninchi's asking me in my comments section where this was sourced from, this 828 phone call. And I have to make a note, and I have to make a mention that it came from Mike Demands. Somebody in the background sent it to Mike. I asked the same thing. Let's see if I can pull up this in the background. I asked the same thing. But to show her, like, I don't know how anybody, I knew that they were making some redactions publicly available. I read that in the paper last week. Whoops, wrong one. What the hell's going on? So again, for Ninchi's True Crime, here it is on our screen. In the paperwork, page 24 at the top, the third note from question 33, subsection B3, it would be. On May 2nd, 2025, there was this redacted right here, V3 delayed disclosure. Now, the delayed disclosure is what I was just referencing. I don't know for sure. I'm just trying to tell you everything that I know about it. But it popped up in Mike Demand's live stream. There's the paperwork. Let me see if I can pop up the piece of the image. Let me see here. It's right here. All right. So these two lines on May 2nd, 2025, there was a missed call from Malaya at 8:28 a.m. There is also a missed audio call at 10:40 a.m. and a message from Malaya saying the kids are missing and the police were there. So you take that away. See if I can zoom in on this. Whoops. Wrong button. Where's my zoom button? There it is. So these lines right here were a delayed disclosure. Now apparently we're able to see them. And a message. So it picks up right after and a message. So on May 2nd, 2025, there is a missed call from Malaya at 8:28 a.m. There is also a missed audio call at 10:40 a.m. And then she's in my comments, yes, but what's it sourced from? I'm just showing you what it's sourced from. Mike demands. I'm showing you where I sourced mine from. He never gives up his sources, but obviously it's got to be available somewhere. We have it right in front of us if you have the paperwork. Only some of the paperwork is redacted, so there must be somewhere an updated version of it, or the original that was gave out was tied into the system through Adobe like that, where they can do it from afar. I don't know what kind of file other than it's a PDF file to tell you. See, when we're sitting here wondering about things, it's this part here that makes us wonder because, you know, they made so much effort to put eyes on or try to figure out when Jack and Lily got home. And you can't trust any of the people around them. It's not like we can ask Jack or Lily. On May 1st, 2025, there was a missed call from Malaya at 2:52 p.m. and a video call at 3:37 p.m. Cindy said she called on video chat to see the kids, but nothing about the call stood out in her mind. So it's so ambiguous in the sense that you can't really tell if she actually verified and saw the kids during that call. Cindy said she called on video chat to see the kids, but nothing about the call stood out in her mind. Did you see the kids? So convoluted. Cindy said she learned from her mother that the kids were missing because she left her phone in the house when she was in the barn, which was why she missed Malaya's calls. She said she did not know what time her mother called her to let her know. Well, there's no doubt about it. No doubt about it that should this be as legit as we think it is, and everything like this call at 8:28 a.m., it throws Malaya's claim out, Janie's claims out, Daniel's claims out, and their ultra updated story in the moment to fool everybody that's listening in. Oh, okay, now we understand, Daniel. Thank you. What are you going to say now? What the hell are they going to say now? What are you going to say about this, Dan? This 8:28 call to Malaya. You guys were sleeping away, you say? Guys were up and at it since 6 o'clock. You guys probably never even actually went to sleep. You wished you were sleeping, but you're standing there all amped up because of what had happened the night before. Wired. Riddled with adrenaline and dopamine. So how you're seeing this screenshot right now is just a screenshot of Mike Demand's computer screen. If you were wondering. Interesting to mention right here. Cindy Murray said she spoke with Malaya over Facebook Messenger and used video chat. She checked her Facebook Messenger history and provided the following information. Cindy had a missed audio call on April 30th, 2025 at 1:21 p.m. April 30th would have been the Wednesday. They had a 12-minute video call at 4:40 p.m. Cindy said she did not remember the exact call because they talk at least once a day or more. Well, isn't this interesting for a person who's not very close to their mother? Daniel loves to claim they're not very close. They have this horrible relationship. Now, who has a horrible relationship is old Janie Bird and Malaya. That's who has a horrible relationship in all of this. If they had a horrible relationship, they wouldn't be talking at least once a day or more. So Wednesday at 1:21 p.m. We talked for 12 minutes. Wonder what makes her so needy. The fact that she's broke and one could only imagine. Maybe it's the type of person she is. Like, why is it you're on the phone so much with your mom at all times? Don't you think that would have... probably because she's got nobody else to turn to in her life. She's isolated away from her family and friends. She needs to talk to her mom to have some sort of support system because Daniel is either away tweaking or otherwise making them all feel like complete tools for being around there. Look at the state of the place. His addiction at this point in time would have been affecting her mental health to the point that, yeah, she had to get Janie to babysit because she checked herself into the psych ward at the hospital. That was an alternative to her. Anything to get me out of this place. That's so bizarre. Why did she keep sticking around for all of this punishment? What was it Daniel was promising that was going to get better? What exactly was going to get better? Your behavior? How were you going to all of a sudden reverse all of the brain damage that you've induced in yourself and somehow go back to that lying son of a bitch that swooned her into some sort of fantasy land out in Janie's trailer? Let's move in together. Let's move in together and have more kids. Sound good? Great. Maybe she got pregnant by the toilet seat. I don't know. What is going on? What is up? What is with you two? We can only speculate about all of that, but it makes you think. It was not an ideal situation on Garlock Road. Janie chose to move out to that ragged old RV, and then she's just pretending that she's happy as a pig in poop. Oh, it's just a fantastic little place to live. I've done some renovations. You can tell you fucking threw a wood stove pipe at a 90 through the wall, by the way. That's a fire violation, a code violation, honey. I'll make that call later on in the case. Have them get over there and have a real good inspection in there and take a look around that wood stove. Make sure that your heath is up to code. We certainly know that pipe isn't. What else are you doing in there? That thing should be condemned. That RV needs to be condemned. It's an old broken down RV that you choose to live in. It's ridiculous. Why don't you go move back into the trailer? She probably is by now. There's no more kids there. There's no Malaya. Things are back to normal. Actually, her last video, her voice seemed a little bit more pleasant than normal. It tells me she's in a much better mood. Well, it's like living at the Ritz-Carlton. It's like living at some 5-star hotel now compared to what she was just in for the previous 2 years. I wonder if her dog just has the run of the place now. Now what's she going to do with the RV? What are you going to do with the RV now, Janie? Is it going to be a summer home, a getaway home? Maybe old Daniel will have you go out there and spend the night in there and he can swoon a new woman. Maybe you can get a new girlfriend over there and hide you out in the back while he cooks dinner for her in the trailer. This Coop 6835 says, I've suggested that the laundry was still dirty. That's why it wasn't unpacked. They never actually got around to it? Marlene, you're saying, yes, Patty is now denying that they were at her place on Wednesday. What were they doing for so long? I don't know if that's a true statement. I don't know if she's denying it. I don't know that she's... Well, I guess you could say that. You could interpret it that way, Marlene. We don't really know. It's just unclear and convoluted in that sense. Patty doesn't remember. According to this paperwork, let's have a quick look. According to this paperwork, she just can't quite remember. See, I wonder what this personal information is from Patty's. This redaction. So on May 5th, Constable Haynes and Constable Hall took a statement from old Patty Pearson, Malaya's grandmother. She said the following. Patty Pearson said she last saw them all when they came to visit. She was not sure of the date, but said it was early in the week, 1 or 2 weeks before. When they came over, Daniel stayed in the car and Malaya did laundry. Malaya and Daniel left to take Meadow to an appointment, which we don't know. That was never mentioned. Like Patty's introducing this taking Meadow to an appointment. And Malaya might have gotten groceries, which is probably a thing that they all do when they go over there every time they visit. Oh, hey, can I borrow your car, get some groceries? She's lending out her bank card to Malaya. But she couldn't remember if she took the children or not. Then there's C, this paragraph that's redacted. D, Patty said she spoke with Malaya almost every day. So what's so strong and powerful about this is that no matter if Patty is having trouble with her memory in that sense, she's talking to Malaya almost every day. And she's citing 1 or 2 weeks before rather than 3 days previous. Like just this past Wednesday. It's just too ambiguous. It's not nailing down the fact of what was otherwise brought up. The only mention when they go back and get Malaya to go through her phone records like days afterwards, after the initial questioning, they go back to try to nail down this timeline. And there's only one brief stop on Thursday, if I can remember correctly, that they dropped off their bank card or Patty's bank card. They dropped by her place in really Truro. And that was on Thursday. Or Wednesday, was it? Now I got to go check. Go! Anyway, what the point was is it didn't match the initial statements. Everybody's talking about them going over doing laundry at Patty's. Now you got me thinking. So here's an updated mention of it. Not an update, but later on, going from page 18 of 35. Daniel talked about what happened on Wednesday and Thursday. Daniel initially had the days mixed up. That's not to be dismissed. But then confirmed through online banking that on his phone, that they spent Wednesday in Truro with Malaya's grandmother and went to run errands. including Malaya's blood work on Thursday, which was in New Glasgow. I'm just scrolling up the page, by the way. So regarding Daniel's statement, scrolling up to page 15 of 35, regarding Thursday, Daniel said the kids did not go to school because Malaya thought Lily was sick. They all left home around lunchtime on Thursday and got gas at Circle K in Alma, then went through the Tim Hortons drive-thru for food. Daniel said he thought the kids were sleeping. They drove to Truro and went to Malaya's grandmother's house to do laundry. Can you fucking believe this guy? And spent most of the day there. They went shopping at Walmart and got food. Redacted. They left her grandmother's house around 9:30 p.m. and got home around 10:30 p.m. just the night before. 10:30 p.m. the Thursday night, and then the Friday morning he reports the kids missing. They left her grandmother's house around 9:30 on Thursday, he says, and got home around 10:30 p.m. Then put the kids to bed. Daniel said he thought Malaya put them to bed. He didn't know what they were wearing because they were underneath the covers when he checked on them. Are you sure any of that actually happened? Daniel said he thought he went to bed fairly early that night. That night? That's just like the night before, you complete moron. Can you believe this idiot? Daniel said he thought he went to bed fairly early that night and didn't wake up until it was light the next morning. This after getting completely the timeline all screwed up. Like, none of this is accurate. He remembered getting an email. Oh, that Malaya had the kids marked absent from school. Remember, friends, Daniel's trying to tell the truth. It's just so hard remembering anything. It's just so hard to remember, guys. I'm trying my best to tell you the truth. Daniel later says that Malaya had to get that blood work on Thursday between 12 and 1:40. So he thought they must have done that before they went to Truro. He's really dead set that they went to do laundry on Thursday. They weren't there at Thursday doing laundry, baby. That was Wednesday. He couldn't remember if they went to town or Wednesday or not, he says in here. He's so ridiculous. That's so ridiculous. His initial story is just so sketch. Oh, I want to know what's underneath these redactions so bad. I want to know what's redacted. So really, it's so bad. Their stories, their alibi is non-existent. They have a non-existent alibi. What is there is very small. Very small. The best that we have as to what they were doing in Jack and Lily's circumstances and what was going on with them in the days leading up to them being reported missing. Wednesday was a PA day. Thursday and Friday they were kept off school for whatever reason. Malaya wants us to believe that the kids were sick, and yet here they're trucking them around Hell's Half Acre. No mention of any doctor's visits. No mention of them actually being sick and needing of some rest in bed, because let's remember, if the kids are actually feeling bad, they very rarely fake it in that sense, and they need bed rest. Then they need to be cuddled, and they need to be looked after in a way that kids like to be looked after. They like to be waited on. There's no food in the house for these guys. They've always got to be out going to get something from Starbucks or Tim Hortons. Oh, fuck. So let's go and take a look here into what was found after they went in and looked in the phone. Malayan Constable McIntyre looked at Google Map timeline for Wednesday on Malaya's phone and learned the following about her day. This is the best that we have. We can't rely on anything that they say because they're absolute liars. And they don't give you a consistent statement in that sense. I.e., these people are uncooperative witnesses. The last people who are seeing Jack and Lily and living in a role of protecting them. So, the whole family left the house on Wednesday at 12:51 p.m. and went to the Irving Oil in Westville. where they got $20 of fuel. They drove to Malaya's grandmother's house and arrived at 2:01 p.m. So an hour later at 3:18 p.m., she went to Access Nova Scotia in Truro Heights with Meadow to get a plate for her car. That's not an appointment for Meadow, by the way. That's a plate for her car. Daniel and the kids stayed at her grandmother's house. They went to the Ultramar in Millbrook to get gas, and she stopped to get a vape for Daniel at High Grade. Oh, yeah, get me one of those. Get me the best one there, and I'm going to suck it all down in one go. At 7:54 p.m., they went to the Walmart and picked up some groceries. The whole family went together. It's an hour past the kids' bedtime normally on Wednesday. They stopped at Redacted in Truro and then went to her grandmother's at 9:19 p.m. to drop off her bank card. No mention of laundry, is there? So when you're folding all of these laundry, when are you washing it? At 10:19 p.m., they arrived home for the night on Wednesday. Malaya provided more background on their living situation. Boy, I'd like to know all of that. Malaya showed Constable McIntyre her Google Map timeline, which tracked her movements on Thursday. She went to the following places. You hear this, Daniel? They left home at 12:10 p.m. and drove for 39 minutes. Then from 12:49 to 1:27, Malaya was shown at a missing visit, which she thought was her blood work. They went to Dollarama at 1:44 p.m. She said she went in and grabbed a few things. They went to Lawton's at 2:48 p.m. She remembered they picked up some Tylenol and diaper rash cream from Meadow because she was teething. They drove between 2:52 and 3:11 p.m. and arrived home. That evening, she got the kids something to eat and they were watching TV. She said they might have gone outside sometime to play, but they came in when it was getting dark. She got her teeth brushed and they wore their clothes to bed because all of the clothes were still in bags from when she washed them at her grandmother's house. Well, when was that exactly? And she hadn't gotten around to putting them away. Lily and Jack were hyper and excited. Are you sure about that? But she got them tucked into bed around 10 p.m. this time. This is another hour off for initial claims. Jack had his blanket and his dinosaur, and she shut his door. Redacted. Lily went to bed with her backpack. There was a mention of that same clip up a little bit. We didn't mention is that 3:37 p.m. Call to see the kids. Cindy would have seen the kids on the phone. And so Cindy even said in a previous statement that we just read that she called to see the kids, but no mention of actually seeing the kids or even interacting with them on the phone. In fact, Cindy said nothing stood out to her about the phone call. So the kids are missing. They're trying to locate the kids, and nothing stood out to you about a call that you've made to Malaya in order to see the kids. Nothing stood out to you. You didn't see the kids? Did you see the kids? We don't know that. It doesn't mention that in the paperwork here, if you can believe that. Isn't that frustrating? Drives me nuts. They're alluding to it. That was what the purpose of the phone call was for. But they didn't go that much further and have Cindy corroborate the fact that the kids were even there. That drives me nuts. It drives me nuts. So I'm not going to put an assumption on it. It's just unclear at this point in time. We don't have enough information. We can't even talk to Cindy. Yeah, isn't it interesting when you sit back and think about it? Remember that bullshit story that we called out with Daniel and Janie and Malaya in the driveway saying that the kids have just been gone for 20 minutes? Doesn't this 8 a.m. timeline from the kids not being there really smash that story after the fact? Like, what in the hell? What in the hell? That story has so many holes in it and has been shot down every step of the way by the people who brought it forward. They can't quite keep it straight. Listen, you spent so long out here in the public eye going on about this narrative about Malaya and Janie going out there. Daniel saying to her, the kid's only been gone 20 minutes, so we're going to go... should I call the RCMP? Daniel said one moment. That whole portion of the story is nonsense. They know it's bullshit. We know it's bullshit. The cops know it's bullshit. You guys really messed up. You guys really messed this up. Wow. Oh. How long have the kids been missing? About 20 minutes, Malaya said. Oh, but you can see Janie now. Oh, well, it was her that had lied to me. Malaya lied. So, I don't even know. First of all, I don't believe that Malaya even said that to her out there. So it's, it's still, you can still see how it works on their behalf because it was a piece of misinformation, disinformation, propaganda that they portrayed to us. That we talk about. It's a distraction from the truth in this circumstance. We knew it was bullshit, but now that we see a little bit more clearly, why would Malaya tell dispatch that the kids were gone since 8 a.m.? Such a loose timeline. So you guys that were making that statement, Coop and Marlene, yeah, Patty is now denying that they were at her place on Wednesday. Is anybody any more clear after reading that? No, you have continued unclarity in that circumstance. So I guess I know what you're trying to say. Your mind wants to go there. Therefore, she's not saying this or that. She just can't remember. It could have been a couple weeks earlier. But then Patty turns around and says she talks to Malaya every day. Now, if you talk to somebody every day, you would have a tendency to remember when the last time in your interactions with them. Like there's more parts to the investigation than what we're reading on these particular warrants. These warrants are old in that sense. Enough for us to see all of the red flags, but there's obviously more information with regards to the RCMP investigation than we're privy to. Maybe there's answers in there. Plus, they have the unredacted version. Not that all of our answers to the case are in the redactions. It's just pieces that we don't know or we don't have yet. That would bring us to the next level of speculation. Yeah, perfect statement. Perfect statement. Where did I just read that? S. Leo 8. I agree as well, but feel this was... Ginger Snap said, sad but true, but many children are misdiagnosed when in reality they're just coping with neglect and abuse behind closed doors at home. I had to straighten you out because it's not a misdiagnosis. It's the parents putting a diagnosis on a child that's otherwise neglected is what you're stating here. No, the diagnosis of autism would be to sort that out, to actually give them a diagnosis if they did indeed have autism. It's not a doctor misdiagnosing neglected kids. No. Okay, that's a falsity. But there's some truth into what I think it is that you're saying, Ginger Snap. I agree as well, says S. Lee. I agree as well, but I feel all these neglectful caregivers make the excuse to police. And in my opinion, they don't even know anything about autism. No, they don't. It's an excuse why their children are missing or wandered away. And it's not their fault as parents. Like with Malaya saying they have it when they're extremely social and friendly to strangers, but behind all their peers in school. Most of the children I personally know with autism are not social at all, verbal, and they're smart. They know many things their peers do, but don't have the social and verbal skills their peers do. Yeah. Yeah. Jack and Lily don't show signs of autism in that sense. She hit it right on the head here. Ginger Snap, I don't think Malaya is very bright and she's looking for excuses to explain away her poor parenting skills. Just mentioned that, but it was on pause. You know, Malaya has a long history. The kids, unfortunately, have a long history of people observing the neglect within their house. You incorporate Children's Aid in the comments home from school and the issues that the school observed. That's just Malaya's way of coping with the effects. She's wanting to put it on something other than herself. Whereas a good parent would be speaking all about milestones and how her kids are meeting them. Do you understand? She's talking about how well her children that possibly have autism are communicating and are just social butterflies out there. That's not autism. You can't have it both ways there, Malaya. You don't know anything about autism. You just want to make it look that way to cope with the fact that you're a horrible parent. You've got no business being around children. You're not the first, and you're not going to be the last, unfortunately. Oh my God. Yeah, I see what you're saying, Ginger Snap. AB, you're right. No diagnosis in this case. I was referring to personal experiences working in the early childhood education field. PTSD from child abuse has been diagnosed as something else until the abuse was revealed. Toxic parents can make children think that they are to blame for the abuse, which can lead to many mental health issues. I'm sorry to hear that. But we're saying the same things, essentially. I get what you're saying. We'll make mention of this, Darlene. Darlene says, I don't know what happened to the original story that her brother called at 6 a.m. I heard it in the beginning, but changed it. And no one has mentioned it since. I wish I knew what video I saw it on. Well, I'll put the word out there. Let me know in the comments if anybody remembers that. I haven't even talked about this most recent Thanksgiving post from Earl Martell. What a spaz. Talking about how he's more of a grandparent to Jack and Lily than even Cindy or Wade or Belinda or any biological. Think about how ridiculous that is. Those kids called me Grampy. I've never heard any kids call any grandparent Grampy. Like, that's a new word to me. This guy is so full of shit. These people have no idea how to relate in a social setting to especially young children or others. Could you imagine these weirdos explaining things to you in real time? Fuck. I can't believe it. You guys are the worst. Where is that thing? Here we go. Here, I should almost do it. This is with its own video. Maybe I will. Earl Martell. So here's a statement. Been wished happy Thanksgiving. That's actually Thanksgiving is one word, Earl. But let's not be sticklers. He's not a big fan of punctuation. What a Lugan. What is it you're actually trying to say there, fun boy? Why don't you put down the phone like a man? Why don't you put down the phone like a man? You can't spell and you can't make a point. Why even speak up? Now you're speaking up all these months later because you want to throw some shade at the RCMP. You better watch what you wish for. Earl says, being wished. You been wished? Oh my God, could you imagine? This is where Daniel gets his he must get his smarts from his dad. He's being wished. Happy Thanksgiving, 2 words, but I'm not happy. Each night, I think of Lily and Jack running up driveway. You speak like a caveman. Running up driveway, calling me Grampy when I picked up my own grandkids. My own grandkids, like they're possessions. These are mine. Once after Jack's birthday, asked why I wasn't invited. Well, I wonder why, because you're a complete asshole. Malaya said only family were invited. I was more of a grandparent to those children than any one of their real ones ever were. Sorry for the rant, but it's time I started speaking up. You keep coming with these big ones, big boy. Oh, so what's he really trying to tell us here? He wants to identify the fact that there's a difference between his real grandkids, his own grandkids. I've actually got real grandkids. I've got kids too. Like that's supposed to be some sort of, confirmation of being a good person in this circumstance. Earl, you're such a tool, dude. What is it you're trying to tell us with all of this? You can't stop thinking about Lily and Jack in this scenario? You remember them running up the driveway calling you Grampy? Who cares what they called you? Are you sure it was Grampy and not asshole? One time after Jack's birthday, well, he doesn't have very many of those. You asked why you weren't invited. Jesus, I wonder why. I wonder why you weren't invited. And who are you? How were you more of a grandparent to Jack and Lily, I wonder? That sounds like something a pedo would say, pal. You have some sort of attachment to Jack and Lily. You have some sort of role in their lives. Well, let's hear all about it, fun boy. And you're starting to pick up on the question. Great statements under this video. S. Lee. I just lost it. I'll have to go down and get it again. Heaven's sakes. S. Lee. Oh, we were really down here. Hold on. Here we go. Osprey. Runs with scissors. Sarcasm Unlimited. Osprey. Cool J. Jesus, I thought it was right here a second ago. S. Lee. Thank you for all the comments. I can't get to them all. Maybe it wasn't this one. I'll be right back. Oh, coming up to 40 some odd minutes. After that, we're 48 minutes in, it looks like. S. Lee says Janie saying Malaya told her they were gone 20 minutes and then had an 8:48 call to Brother Ron. That 8:48 is 20 minutes from 8:28. So I wonder what they're doing from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. I bet it wasn't making breakfast for her kids. Probably hiding blankets and planting footprints. They're all in on it, in my opinion. Right, S. Lee? Very, very strong possibility, especially when there's so much deception in the air everywhere you look around. Friends, I'm going to pump out another one. I'm going to cut this, upload it, and work on number 2. Hit me up in the comments section. Let's get talking about this in a way that is warranted. Peace.